I've been fortunate to go to a Pro Bowl at the highest level in the NFL, as well as win 2 Super Bowls and play in 3. I've been captains of team. I've experienced anything you can think of in the NFL. I've been fired twice. I've been paid like a franchise player. I've been traded. So literally anything you can go through the NFL, I have gone through that. And not everybody can say that, but it helps me to connect with everybody. It helps connect with a star player on a football team, as well as to be a spokesperson. We've created a brand called One More Shot, and that's what I believe in, is that you never know when your shot's gonna come, but you gotta always be prepared for when it does come.
Hey everyone, and welcome to a special episode of How Success Happens. I'm Dan Bova, writer and editor at entrepreneur.com. You know, I love doing this show because I get to speak to such incredibly successful people in such an incredibly wide variety of industries. And sometimes I get to talk to them in person, and that's what makes this episode so special. So a few weeks ago, Entrepreneur Media teamed up with Athletes First. That's the premier NFL representation and marketing agency out there. And together we launched The Summit, which was a 3-day event held in Park City, Utah, that brought together elite NFL athletes and the top minds in business to connect and collaborate. And it was awesome. We are talking about huge names in sports, legends like Drew Bledsoe and Carlos Boozer, as well as Super Bowl champions like Rudolph, Kyle Van Noy, and a ton of other athletes not named Kyle. And we also had huge names in business, leaders from innovative companies like Red Queen Logic, Go Rentals, A16Z Cultural Leadership Fund, Ammortal, Function Health. Also on hand were founders and C-suite members of the Fine Art Group, Beach House Group, Yum Brands, Kickstarter, Ticketmaster, Jack Taylor PR. It goes on and on and on. And we're going to give you the highlights of those conversations during this episode. Now, if you're listening to this, I highly recommend you pop on over to our YouTube channel. Go to YouTube, look for @Entrepreneur Podcasts, and you can see these men and women as they dole out incredible advice. And you can also mock me for how incredibly tiny I look in comparison to them. All right, well, prepare to get fired up because here is your 2026 Summit highlights. Who are you and what do you do?
My name's Drew Bledsoe. I was an NFL quarterback for 14 years, and since I retired, we've been making wine back in my hometown in Walla Walla, Washington.
Now, were you any good at being a quarterback?
Depends on who you ask. I did have some good years. But played for the Patriots, played for the Bills, played for the Cowboys, and loved all 3 experiences, man. It was my childhood dream, and I got to live it, and it was amazing.
You're quite successful in business, and you were quite successful on the field. How does a win on the field compare to a win in business? Do you get the same energy?
You know, there's not the same noise. When you win a game and the crowd goes crazy. But the feeling of satisfaction is the same. And especially when you win as a part of a team and part of a company. When you're part of an NFL team and you win, it takes the collective effort of everybody in order to get there. And when you win as a company, it's the same thing. It takes the collective effort of everybody being excellent at their job in order to win and come out on top. And so that feeling is the same. You just don't get the same noise.
Got it. So talk to me about competitiveness, football versus the wine business. Do you want to crush your competition the same way?
You know, that competitive thing never really leaves. The difference for us in the wine business is that if our next door neighbor does better, that's actually good for us. You know, in football, I wanted the other team to lose, and I wanted them to lose as bad as possible and never win another game. But we're competing as a region also, in addition to competing as so we share a lot of information. You know, you're not hiding and keeping trade secrets from your neighbor. You want them to actually do well, and then of course we're going to be better. but you want to be better from a level playing field, and so there's a lot of sharing of information, and we're trying to support the industry, support our region, support our town, and then we're trying to even be more excellent.
Now, when you won in an away game, did you feel bad for all the fans in the stands who came to support their home team and you beat them? Did you feel bad about that?
So as great as it felt to be in your home stadium and have the crowd go crazy for you, it felt even better to be at an away stadium and hear them all go quiet, and to know that you ripped the hearts out of 80,000 people and they had to go home and be sad for an entire week. That was the best feeling in the world. So the short answer is no. No, I really wanted them to feel the pain. And I just love it when some of the teams that we beat, when they come in and say, man, I really hated you. I was like, man, that's the best compliment. That's the best compliment.
You're a terrible person.
I know. I would tell you I feel bad, but I really, really don't.
Hey, what's up, good people and bad people? My name is Everett Taylor. I'm the CEO of Kickstarter. I'm here with Entrepreneur Media. I'm excited.
Awesome, man. So you have had some incredible success. What do you think is your personal superpower that has led you to this spot?
I think my emotional intelligence and my ability to understand people. I think, my superpowers really are within marketing, brand, design, product. All those things just really, takes understanding people at a fundamental level, what people want, their desires, what makes them tick, what pisses them off, and honestly building great products, great services, and great brands for the people, and it just takes understanding them.
And Kickstarter is all about funding dreams.
Yeah.
What does that mean to you to know that this is your job to make other people's dreams come true?
I think I have the second coolest job in the world. You have the coolest job. I have the second coolest job because, we have the ability to, like you said, make people's dreams come true, bring so many incredible things into the world. We just dropped something where we reported that, we've created over 1 million jobs globally. We billions of dollars, across the platform every year. Like it's really incredible to see that, and to see the range of what's happening from people maybe raising a few $1,000s to people raising upwards of $50 million on the platform for one project, and just the explosion of the creator economy, entrepreneurs, all of the things, cultural categories. It really is some of the most fulfilling work that I could possibly do.
We're talking with so many athletes here, competitive drive. Do you have a competitive drive? What do you think about your competition? Are you thinking about them? Do you want to crush them?
I'm super competitive. I'll eat you for lunch. But at the same time, I think it's really important to, I'm built like that. I'm just ingrained, that competitive nature, that fire in me has burned since as long as I can remember. I played sports growing up. But at the same time, I think it's super important to have your own vision, your own plan, because you can't pay so much attention to what's going on with everybody else. And so for me, do I love kicking our competitors' ass? Absolutely. But at the same time, where we're going is so much bigger and further than what our competitors are doing right now.
What's your business hot take?
My business hot take: luck is underrated. People talk about working hard, being smart, grinding, putting in the work, all that. Man, one of the biggest things that continues to be a reminder of me, especially here with all the athletes in the room and business leaders, is how much timing and luck plays a part in how successful we are. There's so many hardworking people, smart people, et cetera, but man, things have to happen the right way to really reach that potential that you want to.
Do you remember how luck played into your career? Anything specific that leaps to mind?
Man, there's a million things floating through my mind right now. I tell people all the time, if you played out my life a million times, this is the best case scenario of my life, and I feel eternally grateful. The reason I'm even CEO of Kickstarter is because one of the board members just happened to open up the Financial Times as they were looking for a new CEO and saw an article with me there. So media does matter. So yes. I'm super grateful for that, and it just happened. And that article was supposed to come out months prior, and it got delayed, and it came out at the right time. And so I'm grateful for Entrepreneur and other publications giving the spotlight to entrepreneurs like myself, because you never know who's going to read it or see it. It could change your life.
I am Vaughn Miller, and I started Greener Pastures Chicken. It is a pasture-raised, organic, non-GMO, farming, halal, basically every certification that you can have, chicken farm, right outside of Austin, in Elgin, Texas. Got 35 acres. Our birds live a country club lifestyle. They only have one bad day.
What led you to chickens?
And I took an easy class in college. Like, I didn't grow up on a farm, or I didn't grow up farming and raising chickens. I needed an easy class in college for my GPA. Like a lot of student athletes, I take the class, and it is easy. I'm falling asleep in class, and my professor, Dr. Morgan Farnell, which I hated in college, but now he's one of my biggest allies and one of my biggest mentors and supporters. He used to wake me up in class and make me come to the front of the classroom and just make me regurgitate everything that we learned. And even to this day, I might fall asleep during like meetings with football or business meetings or anything like that, but I'm still like kind of listening. And I think I developed that skill way back in Dr. Morgan Farnell's class. I would fall asleep, he would make me come up, and I would just regurgitate everything that we learned in class. And that used to get him so hot. He used to be so hot, and he would tell my academic advisors, and in turn, it just put a lot of pressure on me to pay attention in class. And in turn, I really just learned the process. And you go to college to find your plan B. You know, they hit you with all the stats. Football players only play 2.5 years on average. Only 10% of all football players even actually make it to the NFL. And then when you do make it to the NFL, it was just God sent. When I was in that class and I was paying attention to Dr. Morgan Farnell, it just hit me. Like, you know, this is my plan B. If things don't work out, I'll be a chicken farmer. The type of athlete that I am on the football field is the type of businessman that I want to be when it came to poultry farming. I wanted to have the best product. If you can win a Super Bowl in the National Football League, I want to win a Super Bowl in the chicken industry. We average around 35,000 birds a week. We're in stores like, you know, H-E-B and Central Market and Natural Grocers and Whole Foods, and working on all of these, you know, deals with all of these companies. And like I said before, you know, it started off to be your plan B, and it might end up being plan A.
All the wins you've had on the football field, all the wins you've had in business, how do you celebrate a win?
Man, you know what? In football, it's you can't really get too up or too down. You do celebrate, like the day of the win, though. Don't get it twisted. Like, if I win a football game, I am hanging out with my family. I'm hanging out with my kids. And we're gonna celebrate that win. It's hard to win. It's hard to win on the football field. It's hard to win in business. So even all the little wins, even, you know, picking up a new contract, closing a new deal, finding new investors, all of those are wins. And I celebrate them all the same. I don't get too high. I don't get too low. I just stay focused, and I got a bigger picture in mind. I want to have the best organic chicken operation in the United States, in the world. You know, because if you have the best chicken operation in the United States, it's probably the best chicken operation in the world. So at the end of the day, I'm optimistic. You can't have 99 yards to go thinking like, how am I gonna get this done? Is this possible? What if this happens? You know, I'm in Tom Brady mode, and I'm focused on each and every yard, and I want to move methodically, doing things that I know, running plays that I'm good at, that I've been running my whole entire career. And that's the same thing that I do in business. Chicken farming was me, like, you know, starting a car dealership, venture capital, strategic investment. You know, that's not me. Chicken farmer is me. I'm an Aggie. I went to Texas A&M. This is what I went to school for. This is what I know. These are the plays that I know I can win, and I just like to stick to what I know, and whatever happens, happens. But I have an optimistic mindset that if I run the plays that I know and I do the things that I'm good at, I can be successful.
My name is Fred Rosen, and I built and created Ticketmaster. If you think about what a ticket company does, there is no commodity that a third of what you sell people don't like. I created Ticketmaster fundamentally to be a heat shield in the industry. So you get mad at Ticketmaster because of what you pay and where you sit. Now, what if it was TaylorSwift.com selling the tickets, or BruceSpringsteen.com selling the tickets? So in the end, what you are is a way to basically separate yourself. You're the instrument that allows people access. What people do not understand is a ticket is a commodity. And in sports, We understand people pay for floor seats. They pay for the first 10 rows. The reality is it's a business. It's called the ticket business, not the ticket fan club. And the clients are the arenas and the facilities, and in many cases, the artists. And the public doesn't want to understand that, and the press doesn't want to understand that. They want someone to blame for the price.
Now you're pretty comfortable with taking that blame. What would you advise to entrepreneurs who feel not so comfortable with getting some negative feedback?
Grow up. Mommy's not there to help you.
Were you born this way, or is this this thick skin that you developed over time?
Both. This is what you learn. You learn that if you have definitive personalities early on, some people will like you and some people won't. If you're making ties, there's nothing controversial. People understand that you can't buy a Mercedes for the price of a Hyundai, but they don't understand why tickets cost more than they're willing to pay. Somewhere in the ether, people still argue about that. Now, look, I'm gone 25 years. I am amazed that this is still an issue because as I've said, it's the ticket business, not the ticket fan club. And look, the reality underneath all of this is the public votes with their pocketbook. There were no seats for any Taylor Swift concert. You know what that meant the prices were? It was priced correctly. There are seats left for the World Cup. You know what that means? Weren't priced correctly, right? There are concerts that cancel and they go, well, we want to be in a smaller arena, or it didn't work. You know what it means? They couldn't sell the tickets. Okay. People don't give the public enough credit that they're the ultimate arbiter of the price. And having lived with this, I would share this with you in this simple version. So the public, and StubHub demolished all the scalping laws when the secondary market became, Ticketmaster was a primary ticket seller. And I wasn't around for StubHub becoming a big business. But here's the way it works. StubHub comes along and the bands get 10% of the tickets for their fan club. So now they sell it to Mary Jane in Iowa. So she's got 4 tickets. And it's a great act. And she goes, wait, I can sell 2 tickets and pay for 4. Then she goes, wait, I can sell 4 tickets and pay the rent and sit where I always sit with Ticketmaster and complain about the service charges. That's the truth. You laugh, but that's the truth. This is really simple. And the simplicity of this is when people understand that tickets are a commodity and that you have a choice to go or not to go. It's life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, not life, liberty, and the pursuit of concert tickets. And that's the reality. Look, the Knicks could have sold 400,000 tickets for Madison Square Garden. The prices were what they were. You know why? Because the demand out was greater than the supply. It's not more complicated than that.
So you've had a pretty legendary career. What do you think at the heart of it is the reason why? What is your business superpower?
The best advice I ever got when I knew nothing, for real, was I had talked myself into running a little company that was losing money. And I thought the economic model was wrong because in those days, service charges were $1. The computerized ticketing systems were terrible. And I thought there was a better way to do it. And I said to somebody who I trusted at that time, where do I find the book and get a lifetime of experience? I practiced law, right? And I didn't go to concerts. I thought Def Leppard was an animal with a hearing problem. So I do have a good sense of humor about life. And I go, okay, now I talked myself into this. Where's the book? And he said to me, trust your instincts. And I have, fortunately, good instincts. If you're going to build a business, and this is an entrepreneurial I talk to young people and they spend all day making one decision, which I think is moronic. Make 11 decisions and be right 6 times. You make one decision and you're wrong, you're paralyzed. If you're going to build a business, every day you must move that ball forward. Most people did not have the controversies Ticketmaster had that I knew we would have. But here's what people don't understand. The public was never the client. The arenas, the teams were the client. So when you read all this negative publicity, do you see any of the clients complaining? Right. And then when you see the acts complain, now this is where I'm going to put myself in quicksand. And they go, oh, we didn't know? Of course they knew. $150 billion or more have been paid to the acts over the last 40 years. You ever hear an act say they didn't get their money or complain that there were rows that didn't exist? To be fair, when I built the business, we cleaned up the industry. Hard tickets disappeared. People got honest counts. There weren't rows that weren't on the manifest, but it came with controversy. And you have to understand that when you go home, there are people who are not going to like what you did. But here's the real question. I never lost a client. Integrity and honesty counts. If you give your word, you give your word. There's no way about that. There wasn't one contract that we had that was ever litigated. There wasn't one client I lost. That speaks a lot more than people complaining about what they were paying.
I'm Anita Harriet, and I'm president of the Fine Art Group. We're the largest art collecting group worldwide.
Now, what led you to this business? Were you an artist, always an art admirer?
No, I'm not a creator. I came from a family of art collectors, and I really watched them through the trajectory of collecting, but then also figuring out what they were going to do with their collections. So from a very early age, it was kind of implanted in me, and then as I matured, I got into the business myself.
What do you think is the biggest misnomer about art collecting?
The most important thing to understand is that it's an unregulated business, and it's one in which we call them kind of passion assets. And what that means is that people buy with emotion. So when you're collecting, you have to start to use the muscles that you use to build businesses with, right, as entrepreneurs, and you start to have to apply them to the kind of discipline you use when you buy art and other collectibles. That's the biggest misnomer, is that people don't utilize that muscle, that side of the brain that they've used to build amazing businesses, and then they see something they like and I'll get that, and they don't care what they pay. Right. So it makes absolutely no sense. So a lot of what we do is we're the adults in the room. We retrain that muscle so they can buy intelligently.
So what do you think is your superpower? You've had a lot of success. What makes you so good at this?
The people around me. There are about 90 of us. So you're as good as the expertise around you and the intelligence and the legal. So when we work with a client, it's not just the person they're working with, it's all the people that have been in auction for 20 years. It's been, it's our contract. So it's all the boring stuff and the expertise that really makes for the intelligence around the acquisitions.
Well, what's something that you've learned here at the summit that someone told you, something new that you learned?
This has been incredible. It's been such an incredible summit. What's really interesting, I'm surprised how many people do buy collectibles, right? Just in the last 24 hours, I've met watch collectors. I've met someone who's selling a Kobe Bryant jersey, worth millions and millions of dollars. I've met car collectors. I've met art collectors. So behind that NFL guys are people that are really interested in these assets.
What drives people's passions to collect anything in your professional experience?
It depends. I think one of the main reasons is that especially people that have had liquidity events. So you're an entrepreneur, you sell a business. Suddenly you're flush with cash. You're an NFL player. You suddenly have a lot of money. These are nonverbal ways of communicating power, right? So you wear a really important watch. You have a great piece of art. You drive a great car. It basically tells the world, guess what, world? I'm here. I've arrived. So I think that is one of the main inspirations for this kind of clientele. And then as they get educated and learn more, they can start to curate and be intelligent around those collections.
What's your business hot take?
Make sure you have expertise around you. I was just talking to someone at the table over there, an NFL player, and he said he bought his first piece of art. And I said, well, what did you pay? And he said, well, I just thought it was in my budget and I bought it. And I said it would have taken 10 minutes to determine what that price should be. So my hot take is take the 10 minutes to reach out to someone intelligent to provide you the knowledge you need to make an intelligent purchase.
My name is George Atala. It's a pleasure to be here at the summit. I founded my own advisory called Somebody about 1.5 years ago. And I was the NFL Players Association prior to that for about 16 years.
So Somebody, tell me about the name.
Well, if you have a problem, you have to call somebody, right? So our advisory was really based off a very simple principle of helping our friends and our clients solve big problems and achieve greatness. That means helping them through, obviously, crises, strategic comms, partner and stakeholder management, corporate intelligence and all the things that bespoke advisory would do for them.
So you just mentioned a lot of things that would give people a lot of anxiety and stress. What do you think's your superpower? What makes you so good at what you do?
Trust and relationships. Our values as a company when we started this company was really reliant on all of the things that I learned along the way at the NFLPA, and why, frankly, I'm here at the Athlete Summit with Entrepreneur. I think a lot of it comes in how you move through life, how you support people, how you move with discretion behind the scenes, not always in front of a camera. A lot of the best work that we did was really built around how people value your relationships and your friendships. And I really wanted to take that ethos along with us when we founded this company.
So tell me, your phone goes off, something bad has happened. What's the thought process? How do you attack that without falling into a spiral?
I think you have to have a level of confidence that is, I think that's a one superpower, is like calm and confident. And pretty much almost every problem has a solution to it. So if you have enough experience and you have enough reps under your belt, you can find a solution to just about anything. And I think the demeanor by which you do it and how you exude calm in your attitude about things really goes a long way to sort of bringing the temperature down. So the first thing you do, if the phone rings and you got some drama on the other end, just try to remember to stay calm and try to remember to play the long game. Sometimes these things are not going to get fixed in the first 3 hours, 9 hours, 12 hours of the problem. If you can sort of take a deep breath, take a long-term approach to problem solving, a lot of that stuff will get resolved.
Talk to us about your approach and your advice to risk-taking, entrepreneurship, not a smooth sailing expedition all the time.
I'm still learning. So I'm in the advice gathering business right now. So starting this company a year and a half ago, you think day one you're going to talk about it a certain way and go out in the marketplace a certain way. And really what we've learned in the last year and a half is that the mental and emotional energy that it takes to commit to this, to be a success, is something that I really didn't anticipate, right? So I'm learning how to sort of maintain a balance between not waking up at night at 3 a.m. and worrying about like, oh my gosh, did I invoice this person? Because a lot of that startup life is like, did you do this, right? Yeah. And so how do you incorporate the team? How do you bring the team in? So I'm still in the advice gathering business, but to anybody out there that's like looking to start up a business, and I think professional athletes really have that gene to do it, the grit to do it. A lot of it is how much dedication are you willing to have from a mental, emotional capacity, not just financial, but your own personal investment.
What's up, good people? Sean Neff. I build consumer brands. So I started, first brand, knew nothing, had no connections, knew nothing about business, just had a dream as a young kid to build a surf skate snow brand. So put my last name on some t-shirts and hats, called it Neff. And then I've been on a journey ever since and launched a handful of other companies, worked on the stuff from Sunbum to a travel brand called Base, a hair brand called Pattern. Noise is a new fragrance brand. I'm launching I just made 850,000 boxes of cereal in the last 2 weeks, and we have a new brand launching at Target here in 5 weeks. So always ripping brands, wow. Dan. You know that. I always call you. I'm like, Dan, I got something new.
You always have something new, and you work with some of the biggest names in sports and entertainment. And I wonder, working with people who have built themselves up on their talent, how do you get them to trust you and trust your vision if it's not something for maybe the first time in their life that didn't come from their talent?
Yeah, first, I love that they've become successful themselves, right? Because in any partnership, whether you're starting a company or you're trying to do a good deal with someone, they got to work. It's got to be authentic, right? So like I always give kudos to athletes and anyone that's had a level of success because it's not easy, dude. Everyone looks at stuff, that's a good brand, or wow, that touchdown was amazing, but no one looks and sees the work put into it. And I think for me now, I've been lucky enough to build, start, exit a bunch of consumer brands. So I think, call it my game is launching these businesses. So I think half of it is based on my track record and the business and success I've had. And the other piece is just trying to be a good human, man. Sit down with people, vibe with them on a level, and just be like, try to feel some type of bond, feel some vibe, and be like, hey, you want to do this? Here's what I can bring to the table. Here's what you bring to the table, and let's go try it. So I think it's just, there's a lot of ways to do stuff in life. So you just have to make sure you do it with good people and feel good about it.
So what's your business hot take?
You have to have a great product. No matter who you are, whatever business you're doing, the number one most important thing is product. It's got to be great. And then, right, then it becomes, what's the story you're telling? How's it a little bit different? No one needs, like, what I do is I always walk around retailers and I look at shelves and I can see, okay, that brand's doing this. This brand's telling this story. This tastes like that. So the key is, if you're going to hot take on starting a business, you got to have something a little bit different. You don't need to recreate the wheel. I ain't trying to be, much love to Elon Musk. Like, that dude's changing the world. Like, that's, I ain't that gangster. But, like, if I can tell a little bit of a different story and, get some momentum and it's great product, like, that's the hot take.
My name's Devin Lloyd. I play for the Carolina Panthers. I play linebacker, and I'm going into my 5th year.
So how do you approach preparing for business versus preparing for a new season of football?
I think in many ways it's similar. At the end of the day, I'm a competitor, and so, I'm going to give my 100% in everything I do. I'm going to try to find out the best way to do it and attack it. So for me, I'm very process-oriented, making sure that everything that I'm doing throughout the day, it has some sort of correlation to getting me better, whether it's in business or whether it's for my profession. And, I'm mainly here to learn. I'm a football guy, so, that's what I know, and how to get my body ready to play not only 17 games, but really attack the process day in and day out. So that's mainly what I focus on.
Talk to me a little bit about the mental preparation, because football, very competitive, but business, entrepreneurship, there's a lot of hitting, a lot of falling down, a lot of risk. How do you prepare for risky endeavors, and how do you push through tough times?
That just comes down to being fearless. At the end of the day, you have to take risk in order to be successful. A lot of what I learned today is trusting your instincts, and it's the same thing in sports. It's, even though there may be some uncertainty, like, if you have a feeling, trust that gut feeling. And so, are you gonna have some failures, make some mistakes? Absolutely, that's a part of the process. But as long as you're right more than you're wrong, and you continue just to keep the ball rolling, and if you get knocked down, get back up. I think that's another big part of it. But definitely not being afraid of taking that risk and just trusting your instincts.
You're obviously incredibly talented and gifted athletically, but there are a lot of people a lot of people get to the level you got to. What do you think is your superpower that kind of put you there?
I say, maybe cliche, but my superpower is just my work ethic. How hard I work. God blessed me with a lot of different talents, just as far as physical talents. But I think ultimately it's what's on the inside that really got me to this point. I always kind of look back at my journey, and it's crazy how I'm not supposed to be here, just based off of how late I started playing football and my position transition throughout my career. But my work ethic never wavered, and it still hasn't, and it's got me to this point.
I'm Kyle Van Noy, 12-year NFL vet, soon to be 13. I own a couple of businesses, and I'm a founder of my own foundation, or I should say co-founder, because I have a better half that founded the other half of it. I'm an investor. I'm always looking for the next move, the next thing to help my family's legacy and then grow my brand.
So talk to me the difference between winning a game and winning in business. What lights you up more?
I think winning a game still. I'm still ultra competitive. It doesn't matter if me and you play rock, paper, scissors. I'll probably be more upset about this than anything.
I think then we've got to play.
Let's play. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Boom! How upset are you? You lost.
I'm a loser now. But I have heart, though. We talked about it earlier. I have heart.
So tell us about your businesses. What's your passion in business?
Right now, it's just going into my own personal brand of book deal for myself, as well as speaking engagements, going around the country speaking for companies. I've been fortunate to go to a Pro Bowl at the highest level in the NFL, as well as win 2 Super Bowls and play in 3. I've been captains of team. I've experienced anything you can think of in the NFL. I've been fired twice. I've been paid like a franchise player. I've been traded. So literally anything you can go through the NFL, I have gone through that. And not everybody can say that, but it helps me to connect with everybody. It helps connect with a star player on a football team, as well as to be a spokesperson for a practice squad guy, because I've been treated like that. So I'm able to be the kind of middleman for everybody, or considered a glue guy for people to understand both sides. Okay, this is what the star player is feeling. Okay, this is what a guy that may be underlooked and underappreciated is feeling, and try to come to a common goal to get everybody motivated to win a championship.
What's your advice for pushing through those tough times?
Man, this is something that I stand on. I'm a big person on LinkedIn and Substack. We've created a brand called One More Shot, and that's what I believe in, is that you never know when your shot's gonna come, but you gotta always be prepared for when it does come. Meaning, when you do fail, when you do get knocked down, you're able to get back up, because you gotta have the mentality that one more shot, that door that you felt like closed, that next door that opens might be the one, and you gotta be prepared by working, by putting in the work, by putting in the time, effort, and energy to be able to do that.